Yes, the war between the states was like no other war I ever fought. For in that war, our country was divided. The North against the South. And me, the American soldier boy, I was divided too. Split down the middle by the Mason-Dixon line. That part of me that fought for the North was called Billy Yank. The other, who fought for the Confederate States of the South, was called Johnny Red. And during that sad and bitter time, I was forced by the cruel circumstance of this war to be two soldier boys instead of one. Two boys with two guns and two voices. One part of me shouting, God save the nation and the Union be preserved. A house divided against itself cannot stand. And the other part of me answering, up the rebels and down with the despots. The sovereign right of states to rule themselves is a cause given right. Yes, those two voices both were mine, for I was truly turned against myself. American against American. Sometimes even brother against brother.
It was May 5th, 1864, and the flood tide of battle was at its height in the wilderness. The roar of musketry ebbed and flowed all along the line, and hundreds lay gasping under the tangled undergrowth which extended for miles on either side of what was known as Plank Road. Our captain had fallen earlier, shot through the head. First Lieutenant Rowe was soon after, borne away by the litter bearers, desperately wounded. This left me in charge of the men in the God-forsaken, chaotic confusion of war. Within a few seconds, we were double-quickening down the road, stooping as we went, better to escape the shower of balls which whistled through the brush on every side. Half a mile further on, I met Colonel Whiting, who told me to take my company 5 or 6 miles further on to Cook's wagon train with rifles at the ready, and he galloped away. We were close to reaching our position when night fell. Being extremely weary, we threw ourselves by the roadside to rest. We could not sleep, however, for we knew not what the morrow would bring forth. This looks like a good location for resting, men. Fall out.
I, for one, welcome rest, as my weary legs beckon me to stop.
Oh, I hear that, Victor.
Rest that way. Feels just like laying in hayloft back home.
Yeah, right.
I still can't believe Jared's gone.
Nor can I.
What was that? What? I didn't hear nothing.
Shh, listen. It's just the wind. Or maybe an animal.
I think I'll take a look.
Be careful out there, Lieutenant.
We've got another one. When will this madness end? Oh, he's still alive.
Oh, ow, 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 oh, 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 oh,
What regiment are you from?
5th New York Cavalry.
Did you say 5th New York Cavalry? How old are you, Yank?
20.
How were you hurt?
It's my hip. I was shot off my horse yesterday. At least,
I think it was yesterday. What day is this?
It's Friday.
Oh, I've been here for 3 days then. It was Wednesday morning early, last I recall.
What's going on here, sir?
Just a wounded cavalry Yank. He was shot 3 days ago.
Are you going to take him prisoner?
No, he can't walk.
Shall I shoot him?
There's no danger to us, Corporal. Here, fill his canteen to the creek.
Yes, sir.
Here, let me see if I can't make you a little more comfortable. There, is that a little better?
Yes, much. Thanks.
What you got here, Lieutenant?
Just a wounded Yank. Hey, help me cut the brush all around him. There's some fire raging in the woods not far from here.
Well, what you doing this for?
What?
Helping the enemy.
I don't know. You know what they say, what goes around comes around?
Yeah, how do you mean?
Well, maybe someday one of them will help one of us. Who knows?
Oh, I see. We don't want a roasted Yank on our hands. Sure a young-looking one he is.
Yeah, just a boy. Here, a few more feet ought to do it.
Here's his canteen, Lieutenant.
Thanks, Corporal.
You best be getting on, sir.
Yes, we still have a ways to go.
Lieutenant? If you're not going to take his pistol, may I have it, sir?
Sure, why not? He's not going to need it. Best take his belt, too. Tell the men to move on out. We'll be along quickly.
Yes, sir.
Be careful, be careful. We've left you a day's ration of hardtack. That ought to keep your strength up until they find you.
Thanks. You have been most kind. I shall forever be in your debt. There's something I'd like to give you.
You don't owe me a thing, soldier.
Just my life. Here, I want you to take this watch to remember my gratitude.
Most handsome watch it is.
It was a gift from my father when I enlisted.
Very interesting. I've never seen a watch with horses' heads on it before. Still ticking after 3 days. Here, let me wind it for you. You put that back in your pocket, soldier. It means more to you than it does to me. I mentioned we've left you a day's ration of hardtack, got some water here in your canteen. We've cleared the brush and tangle all around you as there's a fire raging in the woods not far from here. That ought to keep you safe till they find you.
Thanks. I never thought I'd owe my life to a Red.
Well, in this war, we're brothers against brother and family against family. I guess surprises never cease. So long, soldier.
So long. I'll never forget your help.
Good luck.
Oh, oh, oh. Help.
What's the password?
A.
Lincoln. Let me help you, soldier.
Oh,
Oh, where'd you hit, boy?
oh, it's my hip.
How long you been here, kid?
About 4 days. Ow.
Well, the 8 stations just down the road, a couple of stone throws.
Ow.
Encounters with the enemy in battle were violent and deadly. Encountering them as captors or prisoners passing to the rear could be pleasant. Gave us a chance to investigate their side, or at least to confirm our own prejudices. But the most arduous way of coming into contact with the enemy's society was to be taken as a prisoner of war. I, along with hundreds of others, was captured a Hanover and hustled off to meditated Elmira over the uncertainties of a soldier's life. The death rate among military prisoners in prison was so high that being in prison was as deadly as being in battle. The enemy authorities controlled one's life far more than they did in battle, far more than one's own military superiors did in camp. The soldier's resistance to their control was rarely bloody and decisive. More likely, he resisted day to day in small ways that helped maintain one's self-respect. In the end, mere survival may have been the greatest resistance of all. Our circumstances and surroundings in Elmira were not of a joyful nature. Discipline was strict. Days were remarkably alike. Boring. There was nothing to do of any real value. Talk, play games, listen to battle stories. Yet there was nothing much more we could do but to make the most of it.
I'll raise you 2 rocks and 7 sticks.
I'm out.
Come on, I got a real hand.
You feel that luck is with you today, huh, Lenny?
He's always lucky.
If he's so lucky. What's he doing in this hellhole? It ain't so bad. Come on, stay with me, fellas.
Nah, I'm out.
Me too.
Okay, I'll see you 2 rocks and 7 sticks. Now, let's see what you got.
A 9 high straight. That beats 2 pair. Now how about a game of chuck-a-luck?
Hey, Lenny, just what are you going to do buy with all those rocks and sticks once you get out of here?
No doubt there'll be a paddle wheel in the best darn gambling tub on the Mississippi.
When I get home in Alabama, there's only 2 things I desire. A good team of mules and an iron plow.
Oh, well, Sonny, you'll have to have a whole lot more than what you got. I hear tell folks back home bring the money in a market basket and take home what they buy in a pocketbook.
That's not all, Lenny. You know, a cake of soap now costs $1.10. Why, that's 1/10 of my monthly pay.
And prices continue to rise by 10% each month. By autumn, a barrel of flour Richmond could cost $70. And by year's end, their shoes could cost between $200 and $300.
Hey, well, I got a nice pair of shoes. Got 'em off the last bluebelly I shot. They ought to last a couple years.
Yes, Yankee gold is fast accomplishing what Yankee arms never could. The subjugation of our people.
Those damned Yankees have forgotten what democracy really means. They treated my family like scum when they moved into Atlanta, killing the animals, destroying the crops, and burning the city to the ground.
I hear that's what's going on all over the South.
Yeah, but I still feel the South will rise again.
I just hope we're among the living when we do win the war.
If we win the war,
What unit were you in, Jack?
1st Virginia Cavalry. I was at Gettysburg. We sure got a whipping that day. 4,000 killed and just under 20,000 casualties. After, we were heading slowly back to Virginia, aided by poor weather, making it difficult for General Meade to follow. Never thought I'd be happy to see so much rain, but it sure saved our hides.
I heard you men had quite a time there at Gettysburg. Lieutenant was there too, weren't you, sir?
That I was.
We could have won that battle if Jeff Stewart's cavalry could have gotten around that Yanks' right flank. But he met up with that Custer cavalry fella. Stopped him cold.
Well, how'd you end up here?
A couple weeks later, I was riding my pony, taking a message back to the general. Met up with 6 Yankee cavalry. They just came out of nowhere. Chased me and my pony a couple miles. My pony stumbled. I was thrown and they were on top of me before I could even get my weapon out.
Oh, lucky it was.
Yeah, those slimy Yankees look just like what I thought them to be. And I told them what I thought of them. Then that big Yankee sergeant pulled out his pistol, hit me, knocked me to my knees. That's how I got this scar.
You don't say. Then when did you arrive here?
1 year, 2 months, and 8 days ago.
4 o'clock in the morning on May 12th, We had no idea that would be the bloodiest day of the war for us.
We were just marching along Plank Road when all of a sudden the sounds of jumbled voices and commands from the Federal lines were heard. All of a sudden a solid wall of blue came pouring towards us, completely surprised us.
Our unit was taken without much resistance, unfortunately. Federals captured over 2,000 of us that day, including many who were in the Stonewall Brigade.
Where were you, Lieutenant?
I was on my way to Petersburg. I was captured at Hanover.
Hanover, huh? Say, did you happen to know a little boy? His name was Scotty Lloyd Chauncey.
Little Scotty.
He's a drummer boy.
Yeah, I knew him. Everybody knew him. Bravest kid I ever saw.
Well, you know, he was from my hometown. When he was only 11 years old, his ma leased him out to the Confederate Army for 6 months. Said she needed the money real bad. But only 11 years old. How was he last you heard?
Well, Jed, he didn't make it. He was shot at Hanover and died 2 days later. I heard about it the week I arrived here.
I'm terrible sorry to hear that. Terrible sorry.
So you hailed from South Carolina, huh, Jed?
Yeah, I was with the 1st South Carolina Rifles.
That was one proud unit. I had a buddy in there. He told me all about it.
Yeah, there were a lot of good men in that bunch. What was your buddy's name?
Jesse Bowman.
Jesse Bowman, yeah. I knew Jesse. He transferred out to the Signal Corps. He was one smart kid, he was.
Yeah, it was.
Oh. What is it, Jed? What's the matter?
Oh, it's this wound acting up again.
When were you here? What battle was it?
It was Harper's Ferry, September 17, 62. Well, I'll never forget that day. The enemy was just pouring a terrible fire on us. The air was just alive with lead. Why, in an hour and a half of our whole unit was either dead or wounded. We were,
What happened then?
well, we were outnumbered. We had to run for our lives. The ground was just soaked with blood. And that's when I got hit in the leg here with that 69 caliber ball. When I came to, I saw the nicest lady standing over me, helping the doctor dig out that slug with a penknife. Oh, I tell you, the cries of the wounded and the dying sounded like animals being slaughtered. But there she was, giving water to the sick and the wounded. She was writing letters home to the families.
Who was she, do you know?
Well, her first name was Clara.
Miss Clara?
Miss Clara. Never did know her last name, but I do know this. She was the angel of the battlefield.
Hey, Jed, play us a melody on your mouthpiece so we can rejoice over not my new team and plow.
Well, I'll play the melody. You worry about the team and fly. Let's see.
You Confederates tried to smuggle a letter out of here. Lying about your bad treatment and food. Well, speak up. Which one of you did it?
Is there a problem here, Sergeant?
If there wasn't a problem, Lieutenant, I wouldn't be talking about it.
Well, maybe I ask what that problem is.
No, you may not ask. Well, which one of you did it?
So that's the way you want to be. All right? There'll be no grub for any of you tonight until we get to the bottom of this smuggled letter.
Well, we won't get our supper tonight, man.
Yeah, well, who will miss that slop? It isn't fit to feed the pigs. I wouldn't even feed a slimy Yankee with it.
Right you are. A half a pint of soup that's been watered down with that stale swamp water is a far cry from eating at the Atlanta townhouse.
It'll make us all weaker, though. Jed here can't stand much more weakening.
What was he talking about? Smuggling that letter.
None of us here wrote that letter. Probably just thought up for a reason to punish us.
I agree with that, Victor. If it seems as though we're experiencing any degree of joy, it's trouble. It's their way of playing soldier and fighting the war.
There isn't a guard here man enough to fight on the front line, so he has to battle his prisoners to feel any pride whatsoever.
Here, Jed, here's a crust of bread left over from breakfast. Let this be your supper tonight.
Oh, Lieutenant, I couldn't do that.
Go ahead, take it. We're a little stronger in health right now than you, and you're going to need some strength if you're ever going to see that little woman again.
Being in here is as deadly as being on the battlefield.
Yes, the food is poor, the shelter insufficient. Great length to our stay here is bound to damage our health.
If it wasn't for catching those rats each night to supplement our diet, Jed and I would have been dead long ago.
That's right.
How long have you been here, Jed?
I've been here right on 2 years. Seems like a lifetime.
When those guards started denying us salt and coffee, sugar, then even molasses, we knew they were doing it out of spite and pocketing the money themselves to boot.
Just plain mistreatment, that's what it is.
Well,
Mistreatment.
maybe we'll be freed eventually by the exchange of federal prisoners with the government.
Don't hold that breath of yours. Wait for it to happen. They're stopping the exchange proceeding I hear from the scuttlebutt.
Not only that, there have been a lot of prisoners died here, just waiting for that release.
How many have died?
Well, at least 300.
How many traded?
Not enough.
Then what is our future?
Our future is to survive this ordeal and to once again fight for our homeland and our honor.
Amen, Lieutenant.
And we must never forget it.
No guards around. This is our song, fellas.
Real fine, Jed, real fine.
Victory to the South!
Yeah! My daily life is quite accurately described in Jed's diary as follows. Got up, washed, went to bed. However, the monotony was varied slightly by the daily appearance of visitors to the prison, ladies and gentlemen of the city, a limited number of whom were admitted to gaze at the prisoners and to ask questions. Most of us were quite willing to be interrogated and questioned and noticed, as the visitors' kindly hearts often blessed us with small gifts, which were received by us with a degree of gratitude far out of proportion to their intrinsic value. Inasmuch as my entire earthly possessions consisted of a tattered Confederate uniform, a pocket knife, and a blanket, I was prepared to enumerate a long list of needs next time I was asked if I needed anything. Thus it came to pass that one day a lady, accompanied by a very pretty girl, passed by me and struck up a conversation with me.
Right this way, folks. Right this way, ma'am. Move right along. Move right along, ma'am. Move right along, sir. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Elmira. Those of you who are here for the first time would probably like to know that this facility was a military base and has been converted into a federal prison where we are housing thousands of Confederate prisoners at this particular time. You can see around you some of these prisoners. You can see that they are in good health, that conditions here are not like the conditions in Andersonville or other prisons throughout the South, where many of our men have suffered brutally and even died from the severe treatment of the Confederate government. Welcome to Elmira, folks. You may pass out your religious and political tracts. Small packages are permitted this weekend also. Remember, do not step beyond the paths that are marked for your convenience, or if you do, you will suffer severe consequences. Not only you, but the prisoners to whom you're engaged in talking with at that particular time. We want you to have a good day on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Are there any questions? Well, if there are no further questions, then we will see you back here at the main gate in 1 hour. Carry on.
Excuse me, good sir.
Ladies,
From what state do you come?
I come from Georgia, ma'am.
Oh, yes, Georgia. You have exquisite summers, and the autumn colors are simply radiant.
Ah, yes, they are. What part have you visited, ma'am?
Atlanta. I have traveled to Atlanta many times.
I see. Well, I was born and raised not far from Atlanta, a town called Decatur.
Decatur, yes. I have a second cousin who lives there, Mary Ellen Duvall, daughter of Lester Duvall. Do you know the family?
Not personally, ma'am, but I have heard of them.
Such a nice family they are. But unfortunately, this tragic war took the lives of Mary Ellen's 2 brothers, just in the prime they were.
I'm sorry, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. You are really very kind. Tell me, sir, what is your name and regiment?
I'm Lieutenant William Avery of the Longstreet Corps.
Well, Lieutenant, is there anything at all that you might be needing during your stay here at Elmira?
Why, No, there's nothing I'd be needing at this time. Your concern is appreciated, however.
Well, my daughter and I certainly wish you a speedy return to your friends and family. It has been a pleasure talking to you, Lieutenant Avery. Until next time, goodbye.
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 Good day.
So, Lieutenant, who were they?
I have no idea, Lenny.
Well, what they talk about?
The weather, tragedy of war.
That, young one sure was pretty. Did you notice?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Well, I guess I'm just losing my luck.
How's that, Lenny?
She, or rather, they didn't speak to me. Yeah, I think things are changing. And maybe you're gonna have the luck around here for a while.
Think so?
Yes, sir, I do.
Sure is nice to see a bit of the outside world. Gentlemen with real fine clothes, ladies with pretty hats and parasols. You never even know there's a war on.
I'm sure they don't know, and care leastwise.
Some of them don't even look as if they have a care in the world.
I don't think that's true of all of them, Daniel.
Yeah, how do you mean, sir?
Well, take those two ladies, for instance. Seem like real nice folks, even though they are Yankees. They've known the heartache of war. Seem real sincere about their heartache. They've had loved ones die too, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, Lieutenant, but they're still Yankees, and they're not to be trusted.
Looks like we got company.
No.
Is Jed Ruggles here?
Yeah, it's right over there.
Jed Ruggles?
Yes,
I have
Ruggles.
You say you're Jed Ruggles?
Yes, I'm Jed Ruggles.
Jed Ruggles, I have a letter here for you from back home.
You do?
But I can't give it to you, Jed.
Why not?
Because there's a matter of a rat in this group. And until we get to the bottom of this letter, there will be no mail for this division. It's a crying shame not to get a letter from home. It's a crying shame. Maybe someone's sick or even dying.
Cut it out, can't you see now?
Get out there! Get out! Get out there! Get out there, Rep! You want to be a hero, do you? You want to be a hero, do you, Johnny? I'd like to pin you to the ground and let your blood ooze out into the sand. Yeah. It's a crying shame. It's just a crying shame not to get a letter from home. Yeah.
Jed, I'm sure your family's just fine and healthy back home. Don't let him get to you.
I can't help it, Lieutenant. I got a wife and 4 girls, and they're trying to run that farm. Why, I just worry about them all the time, and this makes it even worse.
That's what they want you to do. Worry yourself sick. Those slimy, rotten bluebellies. Scum of the earth, that's what they are.
Jack sure gets angry, doesn't he?
If he does, it's deep inside of him, his anger.
I do declare, it's them right pretty ladies coming back again. I guess my luck's not all bad.
Hello. Oh, Lieutenant Avery.
Ladies?
We do have a few more questions, that is, if you don't mind.
Why, not at all. How may I be of assistance to you?
How long have you been in the Confederate Army, Lieutenant Avery?
4 years this fall, miss.
Where did you serve?
I was in the first battle of Bull Run in 61, and then in 62 at the second battle at Front Royal, and then at Antietam, and finally at Bloody Angels.
Goodness, how old were you when you joined the Confederate Army, sir?
I was 24, man.
You certainly are a young man to have had all this responsibility.
Well, I had 2 years of college in the North before an offer of a commission came to me.
How were you treated at Elmira, sir?
I have been treated better. My main concern is for the others. One man here especially is very sick and needs treatment badly.
I wish I could do more. Do you get enough food?
Barely enough, miss.
Prison is not a desirable place, Lieutenant Avery, on either side. We must be going. May God bless you, sir.
Get in there! All right, move on out. It's time for your evening meal. Get moving over there. Come on, old man, let's move it along. We haven't got all day for the likes of you. There are other people out here, you know. Let's move it along. Get on in there. That's better. That's more like it.
What's this on the fly-leaf? Would you trust yourself to a friend and assume the attendant risks? If so, tie a bit of white cord around the bottom button of your shirt the next time we come. Confide in no one else and destroy this. Who and what are these ladies who thus interest themselves in me? And why? Is it a trap? Surely these two ladies cannot entertain such a thought. Especially the one that looked like an angel. Confide in no one else and destroy this.
Hey, what are you doing here, Lieutenant? How come you're not in there with the rest of the men? Eating? Who do you think you are? All right, move on. Wait up. What you got in your mouth, Lieutenant?
Just chewing on some bark, Sergeant.
Bark. All right, move on or you won't get any chow tonight.
No sleep for my eyes that night. 1,000 thoughts occupied my mind all the night through. Did a lot of soul searching. Did I dare leave my men in such difficult circumstances? On the other hand, maybe my escape would be a morale booster, seeing as someone had been successful in such an attempt. When reveille sounded, I decided to trust the two ladies fully. The next 2 days were full of anxiety and suspense, but my decision to trust in them never wavered. Within a week, they came again. When I presented myself with my bit of white cord, conspicuously displayed according to orders, my angel placed into my hands a religious tract, and with the most indifferent, unconcerned look, passed on. I immediately placed the tract in my breast pocket. Oh, how beautiful she looked. And though I was wild with anxiety to find out what my tract contained, I could only but linger to watch her. After finding seclusion in our very crowded enclosure, I opened the tract. 2 weeks from this date, a woman with a red-bordered handkerchief in her belt will give you a thin linen coat and vest. Carry them to your quarters, conceal them, and return immediately. A man with gold eyeglasses will then give you pants, shoes, and collar. Do likewise with these, and return. You will then be given a hat, in the lining of which you will find a permit signed by the prison commander allowing Mr. William P. Scholl of Syracuse to visit the prisoners. As soon as possible, without exciting attention, put on your new suit, walk quietly to the exit, surrendering your permit to the guard. When outside, walk straight away from the prison for 200 paces. There you will meet a young boy. Trust yourself to him and confide in no one else. Should anything transpire endangering you or us, cut the 2 bottom buttons from your shirt. I thoroughly memorized my instructions and discarded the note. Days passed, but seemed like months. Not only were my fears for myself, but what if I brought my fair benefactresses to grief? At length, after a sleepless night, the eventful day arrived. I grew more and more nervous and ever fearful that someone would read my thoughts.
Hey, Lieutenant.
Yes?
A penny for your thoughts.
I was thinking of nothing in particular.
These past few weeks, you've seemed somewhat distracted. You ain't planning to escape this hellhole, are you?
If you are, Lieutenant, take me with you, please.
I think the lieutenant's got too much sense to try that. You see, the last 2 who tried to escape were captured within 5 hours. One of them was shot dead. The other was captured and brought back here to the prison, and we were forced to watch him be hanged. What a gruesome thing to watch.
I wouldn't imagine anyone would make it with the tight federal security they have around here.
Yeah, but would we take the chance if the opportunity came, men, to once again fight for our homeland, our honor, our families? Would we take the opportunity if it came, I ask you, men?
If I thought there's a chance in hell, I'd try.
Me too.
Yeah, well, who wouldn't? Even in this place, there's sure no bed of roses.
Looks like visiting hours and the parade of aristocratic visitors is about to commence. Here comes that sergeant.
Oh. Right this way, folks. Move right along. Move right along, ma'am. Move right along, sir. Welcome to Elmira. Do we have any new visitors today?
No, Sergeant. I believe we have all been here before.
Good. Then you may pass out your newspapers, your religious and political tracts, and packages will be permitted this weekend also.
And I brought some sweets I baked. Would you care for a sample, Sergeant?
Oh, I'm sorry, ma'am, but I'm on duty. If you'll excuse me, ma'am, I have a problem for me and I must take care of it immediately. Will you excuse me?
Certainly.
Excuse me. Excuse me, sir.
We understand, Sergeant.
All right. You in that white dress, move along. No loitering with the prisoners.
Good day to you, sir.
Good day, ma'am.
And what is your name?
Well, my name is Jed Ruggles.
Well, I'm happy to meet you, Mr. Ruggles.
Likewise.
Mr. Ruggles, do you have family back home?
Yes, miss, I do. I have a wife and 4 daughters.
How long has it been since you've seen them?
Going on 4 years now, ma'am. 4 years.
4 years. Why, Mr. Ruggles, how are they surviving without your not being there?
I wished I knew. I haven't heard from them in over 6 months. I just don't know.
How difficult that must be for you, sir. Bless you. And may you find comfort in God's word.
Good day to you, sir.
Thank you, ma'am.
Are they treating you all right yet? Or are you another complainer like your friend over there?
We're being treated as we expected to be treated, ma'am.
Huh? And how is that?
Poor food, dirty water, windy barracks, lack of clothing and blankets to keep us warm.
Then take this. You might find some comfort from it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Good day.
Good day to you.
Could I ask your name, young man?
Lenny Harper, sir. And my friend here is Corporal Townsend.
You seem so young. How old are you, son?
I'll be 17 on the 5th of November, sir.
And where do you call home?
Huntsville, Alabama.
You, Corporal?
I was born and raised in Tampa, Florida, sir.
You are both a very long way from home. It's much colder in this part of the country than where you come from.
Yeah, your seasons are really nice here, but nothing compares to home. These flies in my eyes.
Home is a special place to every man, no matter where it is. I hope your hearts might be warm, gentlemen, as you read God's word. Goodbye, you sirs. Here you are, soldier. God bless you. How are you today, sir?
Fine, sir.
You appear to be a man who believes in God. Are you prepared to face tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Just remember to follow your heart to the letter.
Thank you, sir. I shall.
May peace be yours, sir.
And yours.
Well, good day, sir. And how might it be this fine day?
I could be a mite better, ma'am.
Sometimes we all must, in order to lighten our very heavy burdens, to turn our eyes toward our Maker. May God be with you, sir. Here's a Yankee hat from a Yankee girl. Will a rebel accept it?
No, miss. But a southern gentleman will.
Good day to you, sir.
Ma'am.
You believe in God, my boy?
I suppose I do.
Well, how about your friend? Does he play that mouthpiece he's carrying?
Yes, ma'am, he does.
Just sit there, Red. Let's hear a tune.
Well, now, ma'am, what would you like to hear?
How about the Star Spangled Banner?
Oh.
I hear that. I don't want to sit through Dixie. How about Shenandoah? Do you know that one? That was my favorite.
Yes, I believe I do.
sir.
What's this? I can't believe my eyes.
Here, Red, take this knife to cut your beef with.
For heaven's sake, say nothing. Shh. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
May peace be unto you.
You and that black band around your hat. Wait up. If you want to get better acquainted with these young fillies here, sir, you'd have a lot better chance if you got your pant leg out of your boot.
Thanks, Sergeant.
Don't speak word yet. Follow me quickly. I'll remove this loose shingle from the roof. That will give you some daylight for a few more hours. This room is just under the roof, and with the small doorway that we cover with a woolen cloth and set a table there, it conceals your entrance well. You must keep very quiet, however. Our hospitality cannot equal what we'd like, for you must not be seen by the servants.
I realize this is not a suitable time for an expression of my gratitude. I will follow your orders implicitly.
The room is pretty small, but you'll have to make the best of it.
Much better than prison, my little friend.
I must show myself now, for our house may soon be under suspicion. A couple of taps on your door will be my signal.
Oh, a suit of clothes. And a change of bed linen. Oh, two things I've not known in months. And food. Cannot recall in my whole life a feeling of more contentment. So much has happened today that's unbelievable. When the guard called out and told me to stop, I knew that was my finish. And then when Victor spotted me, oh God, I have so much to thank you for, and the feeling of appreciation runs deep in my heart. Oh, what a peaceful sky. Thank you. Come in.
Good evening, Mr. Avery.
Good evening.
I'll put up your ventilation shingle, so as not to cause the neighbors to think the roof is on fire when I strike a match. Here's your supper. And if you do not object, I'll sit by and see that you enjoy it, as we have a little chat.
Thank you. I would enjoy that very much.
My name is Jonathan Thomas Newton. We are now my father's residence. The first two ladies you met are my mother, Grace Newton, and my sister, Esther. The lady with the fancy handkerchief is my Aunt Martha, my father's sister. And right now she's living with us. The elderly gentleman with the tracks is my father. So you see, Mr. Avery, it has taken our whole family to free you from prison.
You're all a family then. I had no idea.
You will remain in hiding with us for some time. until the noise made over your escape subsides. How's your dinner? Sufficient, I hope?
The best I have ever taken. Thank you.
There has been no talk of an escape, and we must be very cautious.
But I don't understand.
What's that?
Why your family would be willing to take such a terrible risk. Indeed, putting their very lives at stake to help one of their actual enemy escape from such a place.
My family does not believe in mistreatment of any man, and believes God does not condone these horrible ways. My father believes in the good book, and often quotes his favorite scripture. Inasmuch as ye have done unto the least of these my brethren, ye have done unto me. And besides, a good Southern Samaritan once helped my own brother in combat. So you see, sir, we are only repaying our debt.
But why me? Out of the thousands of prisoners out there.
I do not know. You'll have to go to my parents for that answer.
Your parents?
Yes. Every member of the family wishes to see you. But Father says you must not venture out of your room for several weeks. Father says they'll try to get up to see you, but no one is safe from suspicion, especially our servants, as the town is always filled with detectives and security officers. Have you finished with your dinner?
Yes, it was delicious. Thank the ladies for me.
I must go now. Goodbye, Mr. Avery.
Goodbye, Thomas. The next few weeks, I was kept a close prisoner, young Thomas being most attentive during that time. It was in the third week that I was visited by Mr. Andrew Newton himself. What an outstanding individual he was. Never in my life have I met a man with a more unconditional love for his fellow man. Come in.
Good evening, sir. I am Andrew Newton.
Lieutenant William Avery.
I must tell you, sir, that we are both relieved and thankful that you have followed our instructions to the letter. The escape has been as frightening for us as I am sure it must have been for you. Though I have not visited you these several weeks, I want to assure you, you have been most welcome in our home.
Thank you, sir. It's an honor to meet you.
Thank you, sir.
Would you care to sit down?
Yes, thank you, I would. My son Thomas has explained to you in part why you are here. My visit must be quite brief, but perhaps I could answer if you would have any questions at this time.
Oh, yes. I do have a few.
Before we go on, sir, there is something I want you to understand. We are loyal to the North. We love this country, and we deeply believe the Union cause is just. However, my heart aches for those men at Elmira, and I fear God will rebuke us for permitting those abuses to continue. Sir.
Sir, why is it that I was chosen out of the thousands of prisoners out there?
I left that decision to my sweet wife and lovely daughter, Esther. They are the experts. Each of them possesses a talent, a keen insight for reading a man's character.
Most interesting.
Yes, I believe it is too. First, I believe their choice in you was influenced by a certain something in your countenance, something in the way you presented yourself on your first meeting. We have been looking for the right person for several months. Second, you probably struck them as a man who believes in his Maker. And third, I dare say they sensed in you, sir, the highest respect for moral principles.
I'm amazed. For the very principles that you talk about are the ones that my family taught us all to live by and taught us to believe in.
I believe, sir, that my wife and daughter sensed in you the same qualities which they have long observed in my son Robert.
Where's your son Robert now?
For the last months, he's been convalescing in an army hospital. We are hoping that he will be able to come home and be with us soon. And a very fine lad he is. It would please me a great deal if circumstances are such that you might meet him.
How would he feel about me being in your home, a Confederate?
In fact, it is with Robert's full knowledge and support that you are here.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
You will, in due time. Now, if you will excuse me, I should be going. I've possibly stayed longer than I should have. We must not draw suspicion. Just know, sir, that we will do all in our power to help you until such time as it is safe and you wish to return to the South.
Thank you, sir. My sincerest appreciation to you.
Good night to you, sir.
Good night. About 3 weeks later, young Thomas came to my room with the most delightful news. Come in.
Good evening, Mr. Avery.
Thomas?
The ladies are expecting you in the parlor this evening, and we think there will be no risk. Though you must hold yourself in readiness to retreat, should there be a ring at the door.
Very well. Be right down.
I'm so glad you're feeling better, Martha.
Grace, would you check?
You never did handle these bows quite right.
I have the highest confidence in you. Love it when you help.
How do I look, Thomas?
You look great. Right this way.
Ah, there he is, Mr. Avery. I would like to formally introduce my family to you. This is Mrs. Newton, my wife.
Mrs. Newton, a pleasure to meet you again under more favorable circumstances.
Welcome to our home, Mr. Avery.
Thank you.
My sister Martha, who lives here with us.
And how do you do, ma'am?
Oh, I do fine most of the time. Except when it rains and it stirs up my lumbago.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh, that's not your fault. Can't blame that on you.
And this is my daughter Esther.
And I'm most pleased to make your acquaintance, Miss Esther.
How do you do, Mr. Avery?
I would like to just thank all of you for your very genuine hospitality.
Hospitality? You ought to see them in the morning when they wake up on the wrong side of the bed.
Please, why don't we all be seated? Grace?
Thank you, dear.
Miss Esther?
Well, I trust, Mr. Avery, that Thomas here has made you feel quite comfortable in our home.
Oh, that he has. You've got a very fine young man there.
Why, thank you, sir.
Thomas here is learning to play baseball.
Baseball?
Yes, a new game, and becoming quite popular throughout the North.
I have not heard of it. How is it played, Thomas?
May I show him, Mother?
Yes, you may, dear.
Mother, may I use your linen?
Yes, use the linen in the small girl.
Thomas truly loves this game, and it's quite exciting to watch. The spectators get involved, and some of them noticeably agitated over it.
What do you see, Mr. Avery? There's a home plate here. And first, second, and third bases here. here, and there. See? That makes the diamond.
The diamond?
Yes, and then the batter stands here on home plate.
The batter. That's a funny name.
Well, he's called that because he has a bat that he hits the ball with.
The bat.
Yeah, I'll go get mine and show it to you.
Yes, baseball has certainly taken our nation by storm. We even have a team in our own hometown.
Just another way men have found to waste their time.
Oh, Martha.
Saturday at 1 p.m. Perhaps you would like to come, Mr. Avery.
I would indeed. Would it be safe, however?
Perhaps that would be the best place in town not to be noticed, since everyone would be preoccupied with the game.
Disgusting.
But we must each be quite attentive to help Mr. Avery not to speak, lest his accent be recognized.
Here's my bat, Mr. Avery.
Ah, yes.
And this is my ball. What do you see, Mr. Avery? The pitcher stands here, and the pitcher throws the ball to the catcher, and the batter tries to hit the ball before the catcher catches it.
I see. I think I'm beginning to understand.
You get 3 strikes and 4 balls.
4 balls? Why would you need so many balls?
Well, actually, you only have 1 ball in the game.
I say this is quite confusing.
If you get lost, then the umpire will help you out.
The umpire.
Thomas,
Yes?
I believe we had better just take Mr. Avery to the ball game on Saturday instead of trying to explain it all this evening.
But Father, I just heard Thomas.
Thomas, it is just a bit too confusing for our guest this evening, and besides, it is time for us to go into dinner, I do believe.
Goodness, so it is.
Are you ready for dinner, Aunt Martha?
About time. I'm starving.
Oh, Miss Esther, I wonder if your Aunt Martha knows what hunger really is.
While we gather round the cook's door, where dry bundles of hard crackers are given to each man. Oh, hard crackers, come again no more. 'Tis the song and the sigh of the hound. Hard crackers, come again no more. And they come to
All right, Phil. What? You can't pretend with me. I may be eccentric, but I'm not lying. The way you've been bubbling around here since a certain Confederate soldier entered the presence of the Newton abode.
Oh, Auntie, am I that transparent?
Well, perhaps it's the extra time you spend crimping in front of the vanity every morning. Wait, you're up and dressed before anyone else in the family. The way your eyes light up when he enters the room. Or perhaps it's that new little glow in countenance. Yes, definitely transparent.
Auntie, can I confide in you? I mean, you won't share it with anyone else.
Well, that was the purpose of my question, Esther. No, your secrets are safe with me.
Oh, Auntie, I'm so full of emotions, I'm just about to burst. I mean, you see, I have this dilemma.
Can't imagine. What is it, dear child?
Well, in the many months that Mr. Avery has been in our home, I've had several conversations with him, and I do now believe that I understand the views of the South. But I can't help but feel that my emotions are traitors to my ethics and political convictions. But he is so honest, sincere, and wise,
I've never known a man with such depth and compassion.
Boy, you got it bad.
My dear child, let me show you these feelings you're experiencing don't happen every day. Well, even if you are honest and have the same values, you still have a great obstacle to overcome. That being your political differences.
Well, then, I have another dilemma.
Yes?
He doesn't feel the same about me.
My dear child, I think you are in for some surprises.
Auntie, you don't think that anyone else knows how I feel, do you?
Nah. The only way they wouldn't notice is if they were deaf and blind.
Many evenings thereafter were spent in delightful conversation with the family. And often Thomas would accompany me to my room and sit with me till well after midnight, which time I would much rather have spent in the parlor with Esther, but fates decide otherwise. Each evening thereafter was spent in the parlor, generally with the family, occasionally with Esther, whom I simply worshipped the more I saw of her. She was so enchanting to talk with. Her eyes had an unusual sparkle to them, as though she could indeed see into a man's soul. And her skin appeared as soft as the petal of a rose. But recently I little thought that any hated Yankee could so influence me. So it was nevertheless, and I began to realize that life must surely be worthless without her. I had as yet said nothing of my sentiments to her. I decided to make known my feelings, and not many evenings passed when the opportunity came. If she was indifferent, I had no other choice but to get across the line south as soon as possible. This night, the family had gone out. Summoning up all my courage, I went to the parlor, hoping she would join me there. Miss Esther, I think you're the most beautiful girl in the world. Oh, that's too bold. Miss Esther, I think I'm madly in love with you. Miss Esther, I'm but a poverty-stricken prisoner with... Miss Esther, I've been noticing you a lot. Good evening, Miss Esther.
Good evening, Mr. Avery.
Is that a new gown you're wearing?
Why, yes. Mother and I have been sewing on it for several weeks. Do you like it?
Yes, it's very elegant. And it's most becoming on you.
Indeed, I take that as a true compliment, Mr. Avery. For you must have seen the loveliest gowns in your southern parties and gatherings. I understand the southern ladies are quite charming.
Yes, that they are. But I've never met anyone with a more radiant beauty than you possess, Miss Esther.
I rather think you mean that sincerely, Mr. Avery.
I do.
Then I am indebted to you again.
No, it is It is I who am indebted to you and your family. How I was so fortunate I cannot determine, but I find no fault with the matter.
Oh, the autumn leaves are so beautiful this time of year. What's autumn like at your home?
Well, we have little seasonal change. Nothing as breathtaking as you have here. I've really enjoyed my stay in New York. I've grown much by knowing your family, and I've learned a great deal.
Learned from us? But what have you learned?
Well, I've learned to better understand the destiny of the Union and why the Union has taken the stand it has. All the time I thought I was doing God's will. Now I realize there are things of value to be learned on both sides. And thanks to you, Miss Esther, I've learned to understand the game of baseball.
Now you'll be able to teach your family the game. You must miss your family terribly.
Yes, I do. It's been hard to be away from them for so long. Guess the hardest thing is not to even hear anything about them.
Do you come from a close family?
Yes, I do.
Tell me about them.
Well, my father is a very successful Southern gentleman. We have a large plantation which he built with the work of his own hands. Oh, it's a lovely place, Miss Esther. You'd love it. Green countryside adorned with peach trees. Father owns a hardware store and a lumber mill and 2 freight barges to haul our lumber up and down the river.
And your mother?
Well, Mother was only 18 when she met Father. They fell desperately in love, even though Father was a few years older. They met at a church bazaar. Mother was very religious. She used to read to us from the good book. They have 4 children now. Been married for 32 years. They have 2 boys and 2 girls.
Are you the oldest?
No, I came second. My brother's life was taken early on in the war.
Oh. I am sorry.
When the word came, it devastated my parents. I knew it was then my turn to represent the family, and I promptly enlisted and received my commission.
And now, not knowing where their older son is, what torment they must feel.
Miss Esther, you are truly an angel from on high. I've made a decision, and I must speak to you directly, though I may be making a fool of myself readily.
Surely you're not thinking of leaving us yet.
That would be wisdom compared with my purpose.
Oh, excuse me, the door. I'll be just a moment. Good evening.
Good evening, Miss Newton. Is your father at home?
He's not. He's out for the evening. Is there something I can help you with?
I borrowed this book, and I am just returning it. Would you see that he gets it, please?
I will. Thank you, and have a good evening.
And you too, Miss Newton.
It was just a friend of Father's returning his book. Now, what were you about to say?
Miss Esther, I'm but a poverty-stricken prisoner, with little to recommend me, and indebted to the charity of unknown friends for the very clothing I wear. And yet I cannot help but declaring that from the very first moment I saw you, I loved you secretly. I know my words are the words of a fool, but the worst you can do is speak your contempt for my passion. I cannot help but taking that chance. Oh, Miss Esther, what's wrong? I did not mean to upset you in any way.
Oh, but you haven't.
But then why are you crying?
Because I'm so happy. I've felt the same about you for some time now.
You who selected me out of those thousands of prisoners.
Yes, I looked over the entire collection. I decided it would be you, Mr. Avery, that would be the chosen one.
Oh, my dearest darling Esther, I thank you again from the bottom of my heart for risking your life for my very safety. I think of your life being in danger makes me ill, for I cannot imagine life without you, now that I've found you.
Oh, Mr. Avery.
Please, call me William.
All right. William.
I guess there's nothing more to say then, except, would you marry me, my darling Esther?
Oh, William. I would be delighted. But first you must speak to my father.
Certainly I shall. The first chance I'll take.
Oh, Mr. Avery. I mean, William. I can't believe that I'm here with you like this. That you have thought the same about me. Oh, it's just like a dream come true. We've heard from my brother Robert, and he'll be home tomorrow. And you'll have the opportunity to meet him. We have so much to celebrate. Would you care for a piece of Johnny cake? I baked it myself.
I can hardly wait to taste it.
Well, just be a moment.
Well, as I ascended to my room that night, I felt a light, almost floating sensation. And when sleep came, never before in my life have I slept so soundly. What a miracle had taken place in my life at this time. Under such impossible odds, I had not only found, but won the heart of my angel. The next day dawned cool and crisp. Most of the day was spent in preparation for Robert's arrival, and everything was made ready for a celebration dinner that evening. After the necessary introductions and the most superb meal, we retired to the parlor for tea.
Oh my, what a lovely dinner that was, Grace.
I'm so glad you enjoyed it, dear.
That Johnny cake was the best I ever tasted.
You can thank your sister for that. She was the baker.
Of course it was good. It was my recipe.
Hospital food sure wasn't anything like this.
Oh, Robert, I just can't believe you're home. Oh, I've waited a long time for this day.
I waited a long time to stay too much, dear.
Welcome home, son. Welcome home.
I would like to comment to you, Robert, that the last few months that I've been in your home, I've heard your family talk about you. The most loving, kind way possible. At last, finally, a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
We are honored to have you amongst us also. For you see, sir, I owe my life to a Confederate soldier.
Why do you say this?
Well, you see, my brother Robert was badly wounded down in Virginia. A rebel, I mean a Confederate officer, was kind enough to cut away some brush that had been on fire and would have burned him to death. He gave him commodities to sustain him for the time until the next day he was found and shipped off to Northern Hospital. It was then that he decided that with all our pledged help, we would release one of your soldiers, one of your prisoners, as repayment for his debt. The decision was left up to me, and I thought you had the kind of character that Robert would have chosen had he been him himself.
So you were wounded in Virginia?
Yes, and I carry very desirable proof of the fact in my hip now.
5th New York Cavalry, I assume?
Yes.
Lay in the bushes for 3 days and came near being burned.
Yes.
Fellow came along and helped you out in some sort of way.
Yes.
Brought you a mouthful of rations, some water, and left or took your watch for pay.
Yes. Oh, no. I gave him my watch, but he refused it.
I've never seen a watch with horses' heads on it before, except once. Did you ever know the fellow, if you saw him again?
Well, you are the very man, old fellow.
What did you say?
From the first time I saw you, I had a notion I'd seen you somewhere before. What a fool I was to not have recognized you. Robert, what did you say? This is the very man.
I know, it's incredible. You're the very man?
Yes.
Oh, Grace. Oh, my. The Lord does work in mysterious ways.
What a surprise.
Why didn't you tell me this before?
I only realized it myself this very moment.
Hallelujah. Praise the Lord. Please, would you all be seated? There is something I wish to say. There is a way that the horrible wounds of this long war can be overcome. I believe that the same courage, honor, and spirit of brotherly kindness which have somehow and almost miraculously spared our Robert and Mr. Avery to this special evening will, in due time, restore and heal the Union. And the coming years will show that the many lives that have been sacrificed in this great Civil War will serve a far greater purpose than to achieve the victory or preserve free access to the Mississippi. And now, as for our family, as we reflect upon the special blessings and revelations of this evening, tonight and forever, I think that we can but marvel and thank God.
Here, here, let's all have a toast.
Mr. Avery,
Thank you.
Thomas, Martha, Robert, Father, Mother. Thank you, dear.
To courage, honor, and brotherly kindness.
Here, here.
Here, here, here.
Father, Mr. Avery told me a still more wonderful story last night.
Oh, what was that, my dear?
He said that he loved me and he wanted me to marry him. But I didn't think you would allow me.
Allow you? Why, my boy, you couldn't please me better. Yes, certainly, I say you shall marry. Well, thank you. Thank you. I'll take good care of her. Oh, my dear Mrs. Hubbard, thank you. Don't think that's
Well, I didn't want to help you escape from prison, but I'm glad we did. Welcome to the family, William.
Oh, that must make it official.
Crushed ice is finished. Anybody for dessert?
Huh? And so, Thomas, how was your baseball? How did you won?
We won! You didn't! 23 to 14!
Well, the wedding wedding did not take place then, however, for I could not consent to leaving Lee's army to do battle without me any longer. So one night, armed with a ticket to Baltimore, a purse of gold, and a photograph of the dearest girl in the world, I took my departure south. The war finally ended on April 9th, 1865, and I left for my father's plantation to make certain all was well there. After something of quiet was restored, I once again made my way to Elmira, only this time with emotions and feelings much different from those which filled my breast on my first visit. This time, I came for my angel.
William! William, you're home at last!
I've come for you, my darling, if you'll still have me.
William, my home is wherever you are.
Oh.